Okay, so let's get straight into our webinar today. These are the 3 webinars that we have already done. The first one was on the GMAT, and why you should be taking it, what are the requirements to study abroad, what is the GMAT, benefits of the GMAT. So this was the first webinar, very basic webinar. Second one was a little bit into detail about how to prepare for the GMAT, time required for the GMAT, what type of approach you should use. GMAT is more about strategy, so this was it. Then the right time to take the GMAT, when should you be taking the GMAT. So Ravikant, if you can see the PPT, if you are able to see the PPT, that's enough. There is no video. We understand that different people have different internet bands, so we don't use video too much. We use a simple PPT. So if you are seeing this PPT that says recap, so I think you are good. So Ravikant, do you see this? Okay, the third part we covered again little bit into detail about different types of B schools and their requirements. That we talked about MBA specialization options, of different options available within the MBA, such as finance, marketing, etc., and who should be doing which one. We also covered different B school options in different countries and the GMAT requirements, for those. And finally, the admissions criteria, very basic admissions criteria. So these are the things that we have already covered in our 3 webinars. So the webinar recordings, they are available here. The first 2 recordings are already there. The third one it would be up by Monday. It was supposed to be up a little earlier, but there was some problem with the editing. So, but it is going to be up on Monday, so the coming Monday. So you will have the third webinar recording also. These recordings, if you have, these are available free for you, so you can see those. Okay, Aman, do you see it on the screen? So you can just click a picture of this, So it's www.jamboreeindia.com/GMAT_webinars, right? You can either write it down or you can click a picture of this screen, on your phone, right, Aman? Okay. So this is the location where you'll find the recordings of the previous webinars. Some of you have joined us today for the first time, so in case you want to go through the recordings of the previous 3 webinars, you can do that. Today's webinars, these are agenda. We'll talk about the different funding options, then different types of scholarships available, then assistantships, what are they, how do they differ from the scholarships, loans, and then finally a very important thing about how do you choose a B school based on your budget, or how do you choose a B school to fit your budget. So this is what we plan to cover today. Funding options. What are the various funding options? Scholarships. A lot of universities give scholarships. For MBAs, there are not that many need-based scholarships, but there are different types of scholarships available. These scholarships are given by universities. Then there are assistantships. So the difference between scholarship and assistantship is that the scholarship is given to you. You don't have to do anything in return, based on how you have done on your applications. The scholarships are awarded based on that. Assistantships, you can earn anytime throughout the year, and for that you have to do something in return. So we'll talk more about that later on. Then of course loans and internships, right? So these are the different funding options. These are the 4 things through which you an MBA student or an MBA aspirant funds his MBA education. Internships, this is a little tricky because not many business schools have internships. So if you are going for a 1-year MBA, like your ISB MBA or any 1-year MBA in Europe or anywhere, so the internship is not a part of the MBA program. So in those situations there is no internship obviously. But in the, if you are going to the US B schools or Canadian B schools or some of the Asian B schools which have the internships, so these internships are paid internships. So after the first year you do the paid internship, and this help you pay actually the tuition for the next semester. Lot of students are able to pay for their pay for their last semester of the MBA through the earnings from the internship. There's another advantage of the internship is that if you do well during the internship, then the company ends up giving you a job offer. Most Indian students actually, they do well in the internship and they are able to get the job offer. So internships have dual purpose. First of all, it helps you fund your MBA to some extent. Secondly, if you do well, then you might get a job out of the internship, right? So the internship is very critical, and you need to be careful while choosing the internship. Let's say that you want to end up having a career in marketing, then you have to choose an internship in such a way that it deals with marketing. Otherwise, even if you get a job from out of that internship, it will not be what you want or what you need. So be very careful while choosing the internship. The good news is that business schools have very dedicated career forums or career societies. They help you. They are official organizations of the university. They help you search for these internships. They help you make the CV. They help you prepare for the interviews. They put your CV out in their alumni network. So the business schools, they have dedicated career cells which will help you with these internships. But of course, finally you are the one who will have to go for the interview. But at least you will get quite a lot of help from the university in terms of getting these internships. But keep in mind that if you are going for the 1-year MBA, those of you who plan to go for the 1-year MBA, there the curriculum does not include an internship, and that's where you might be a little bit in trouble. So you cannot budget, you cannot plan your hope to get any kind of financial help through an internship if you are going for a 1-year program. So any questions? AJ, the 1-year MBA programs are built in such a way that you finish your MBA course, all the curriculum in 1 year, so it's already very tight. So so there is Lisbon, for instance, MBA in Lisbon, so they give you about 3 weeks of internship, but that's very but not extensive ones. And in 3 weeks nobody can, no company actually is able to gauge your performance, right? Okay, Ravikant, okay, Jayashree, your question is how can we apply for loan? So we'll come to the loan section. We are just in the initial section right now. Ravikant, your question is okay, to get into top 50 at least. I'm not able to understand your question. Today's webinar is specifically for funding options. It's so the next webinar is where we are talking about on August 15th we have the next webinar where we talk about different how to improve your profile, different admissions criteria, how to how should you be approaching your essays, etc. So how to make a good application. That's what we talk about in the next webinar, not this one, Ravikant. So Ankur, your question is, do people who join B school in January intake have less internship opportunities than fall intake? No, Ankur, it is not a function of which intake you are joining in. If the MBA program that you are joining in, if it has an internship program, whether it starts in January or in August, doesn't make any difference, right? And AJ, your question is Europe if we consider. Okay, see Europe, as I told you, Lisbon, Manchester Business School, HCC Paris, London Business School, these are some of the business schools which have internships, but otherwise most of them they don't. Even if they do give you some corporate projects, they are usually for 2 to 3 weeks. So in a 2 to 3 weeks internship, people are usually not able to get much out of there. Okay, scholarships. Scholarships come in different types and different forms. The most common is the tuition waiver, and this is given along with the admission offer. So if the admission offer is given to you, so in that admission offer itself, they will tell you what kind of tuition waivers they are giving you. It can be 5%, 10%, 20%, as much as 50% also, right? So actually we have seen some of the colleges which give up to 100% tuition waivers. So tuition waivers is the most common type of financial assistance given by universities. Okay, Ankur, your question is not actually is not a part of this today's webinar. How is HCC Montreal or John? So this is not about B schools today, right? If you have questions, please feel free to write to us later on. Okay, I'll give you an email ID at the end of the webinar. Saurav, your question is, does a good undergraduate internship from India help you in postgraduate studies outside India? Well, that is again not relevant. Today we are just talking about MBA funding options. Just please bear with me. We'll take up all these non-related questions at the end of the webinar if we have time. Right now, let's just stick to the agenda. Diversity scholarships. Some universities, they have something called diversity scholarships. So they are given to students from unique backgrounds. But Indians don't usually qualify for this, especially because maximum applications to these schools go from Indians and Chinese, right? So there is not much diversity angle there. But there are some universities like Carnegie Mellon and all where they have diversity scholarships for women candidates. So keep on the lookout for that. If I see some ladies today online, so some universities give diversity scholarships specifically to women. So it always helps to apply for these scholarships. Now, how do we apply for these scholarships? For tuition waivers, there is no application process. For other scholarships, for diversity scholarships or other scholarships, you might be asked to write an additional essay as a part of the application itself. So when the online applications will be available, they should be available by middle of August. So in the application requirement itself, the essay would be there. So if you are looking for scholarships and the university wants you to write a special essay for the scholarship, then you would need to write that. Then there are need-based scholarships. Very few universities give the need-based scholarships, but they, for example, ISB gives need-based scholarships, right? So for need-based scholarships, it is they will ask you for your income tax returns, your family's income tax returns, etc. So this is totally based on the need, whether you need the money or not. Merit has nothing to do with this, right? So tuition waivers and diversities, it has to do with merit. Merit means if you are in the top 10-15% of the admitted students, so yes. But need-based scholarships, merit has nothing to do with it. If you are good enough to get an admission offer and if you don't have the requisite funds, then they give you some need-based scholarships. And ISB is one of the popular schools which give need-based scholarships. We have had students in the past who have got up to 8 lakhs, 9 lakhs of need-based scholarships from ISB. Okay, just hold on to your questions till I am done with all the information on the slide. So just hold on to your questions. If you guys keep on typing now, I'll miss out on those questions. So just hold on to your questions. Okay. So Manoj has a question. Does this merit means GMAT score or previous studies? Merit means the entire application, GMAT score, the quality of your essays, quality of your recommendations, your extracurricular activities, the entire application, it means everything. Merit does not mean only academics or only GMAT score. Akanksha, your question is, if we have to apply for January intake, then by which month we should apply for the scholarships? Akanksha, there are no separate scholarship deadlines. The university deadlines are the scholarship deadlines, right? Some universities though, they say that their scholarship deadline ends with the second round deadline. So keep an eye out on for that. Otherwise, there is no separate scholarship deadline. So if the university deadline is October 15, so that's when you have to apply also for the scholarship, and it is a part of the same online application. There is no separate online application for applying for the scholarships, right? Akanksha, I hope that answers your question. Your question is, how do we highlight these in the essays? Okay, so we do have a segment on essays, how to write about your, how to make your essays, the best possible portrayal of your profile. We have a segment completely dedicated to that, but not today's webinar, right? Just keep an eye out for our next set of webinars. Part has another question: are international applicants applicable for need-based scholarship? Okay, that's what I said, that very few schools do that. Like in India, of course, you will be eligible to whichever colleges give, but outside India, very few colleges you will be you will be eligible for need-based scholarships. Shankar, I don't know till what you heard. Did you hear? Yes, Manoj, people with work experience also become eligible for need-based scholarships, because actually we had a case a couple of years ago where the student was the sole earning member of the family, and his parents were retired. So when he went to do his MBA, so obviously there was no earning member in the family. So yes, they also they are also eligible for need-based scholarships. But you have to give the necessary documentation, income tax returns and all of that. So Manoj, that helps? Okay, Manoj, can you hear me? So let me repeat Manoj's question. So Manoj, your question was, are people with work experience eligible for need-based scholarships? So the answer is yes. Couple of years ago, one of our students, he was the sole earning member of his family. So when he went to, and both his parents were retired, so when he went to do his MBA, so obviously he needed the, he qualified for the need-based scholarships. Of course, when you apply for need-based scholarships, you have to provide the necessary documentation such as income tax returns, etc. Right? Does that help you? Did you use your question answered, Manoj? Okay. Right. So Shankar, did you hear? I don't want to miss out on a lot of you. Okay, right. So then moving on. So any more questions on this, on the previous slide? I think we have covered how to apply for the scholarships. Okay, Abdul, thanks for helping out. Slow internet connection, then streaming would stop playing. So yes, the recordings would be available. And as Abdul has rightly pointed out, just keep noting down your queries, and we will take it up at the end of the webinar. Okay, assistantships. As I said, scholarships and assistantships, they are both given by the universities. The difference is that when a scholarship is given to you, like a fee waiver or whatever, any kind of scholarship is given to you, you don't have to give anything in return. Right? But for assistantships, you have to work in return. So there are two types of assistantships that are usually given. One is called the teaching assistantship. Not many international students are given teaching assistantship right at the time of admission. You have to go there and you have to kind of pass a test. That is mainly because the way we speak, the way we communicate. So very few TAs are given out at the time of giving admission offers. However, if you have teaching experience, then they might give you TAs, teaching assistantships at the time of admission itself. So if you are given a teaching assistantship, then as the name suggests, you have to help out a professor, with his teaching assignments. So maybe you might be asked to help the professors in preparing his lectures, in doing the background research for his lectures, for his classes, etc. You will not be asked to teach per se. right? But you will be assigned as an assistant to a teacher, and you will have to do that for maximum 20 hours per week. The next type of assistantship that's given is research assistantship, RA. So anybody who has let's say a master's degree or a PhD degree, they are preferred. So when you are applying for an MBA and let's say you have a master's degree or you have a PhD degree, then those kind of students are preferred when deciding who to give the RA to. So in research assistantship, if you get an RA, you will have to help a professor with his research work. Lot of the MBA professors, they have this research going on. They have big research groups, right, where mostly their PhD students work, but very often they also take on master's level students as research assistants. And here also both for TA and RA, you can do that. You'll have to work for 20 hours per week. Right? So that's so TAs and RAs are not as common as scholarships. Now both for assistantships and scholarships, these two things are given by the university. So please now just hear very carefully. So let's say you are given a scholarship, you are given a tuition waiver with the admission offer, and or let's say you have got a TA or RA along with the admission offer. That doesn't mean that you will keep getting it till the end of your MBA. To maintain the scholarship, to maintain the assistantship, you will have to ensure that you maintain a GPA of 3.5. So if your GPA falls below 3.5, then you might lose your scholarship, and it will be given to some more deserving candidate. So just because you have got a scholarship does not mean that you have got it like forever, right? You have to keep on working hard to ensure that you keep getting it. So every semester you have to maintain a GPA of minimum 3.5 out of 4. This is a very important criteria, by the way, right? Any questions? I see a lot of people typing. Any questions? Well, it's CGPA. It's in the US. It's called GPA. Okay. Saurabh, again your question is not related to this webinar. You cannot convert your Indian grades to the US system. I am not talking about your current GPA. I am talking about the GPA that you will be getting in your MBA, right? So in your MBA, so this is what you need to get to maintain your scholarships, right? Yes, Manoj, once you lose it, it might be of course difficult to get. So the first step will be to try not to lose it. You see, I mean, if you lose it, then it is given to somebody else, right? It's not the university. They have the funds that they have to spend in a financial year. So yes, but 3.5 is not that much of a big deal. Most students are actually at the master's level, most people end up getting a 4, right? So 3.5 is the bare minimum. I haven't seen anybody having difficulty maintaining the 3.5, right? But still you should know. Okay, Saurav has a question. Some universities ask for a good GPA in undergraduate, but in India, okay, Saurabh, as I told you, you cannot convert your Indian GPA to the US system. So, you have to submit whatever you have. They will do their own conversions. Ravikant, your question is, I have 9 years of experience. What kind of MBA and which countries are suitable? Okay, Ravikant, again, we have covered this in the previous webinars. I think you will find it helpful if you go through the recordings. So today's webinar is dedicated only for the funding options. I'm sorry to cut you off, but there are people here who are here because they want to know about the funding options. But as I said, please look at our recordings, and I'll just type in an ID where you can send your queries. We'll be happy to address them. In fact, this applies to all of you. If you have any questions not related directly to today's webinar, please send your queries at information@jamboreeindia.com. We will definitely reply to you. Vipul, your question is how to write scholarship essays. First of all, the university will give you a topic, so it's not general essay. So if a university needs a if a university needs a scholarship essay, they will tell you the exact topic. So it's not generic essay, so they will tell you what they want you to write. So based on that topic you will have to write, and the topic will vary from university to university. Anand, your question is, can we get the links of recording? Okay, so I think Abdul has already done that, so thanks Abdul. Okay, Akanksha, your question is, as ISB is having 1-year programs, so apart from the need based, what other scholarships are available? I mean TARA. Akanksha, you know, in ISB, as you have rightly said, it's a 1-year program, you know, so apart from need based scholarships, there are some you know, if there are some external scholarships also associated with ISB, given by a lot of organizations. So you can, the information is available on their website, but usually, you know, 2 to 3 scholarships are not combined. So Abdul, your question is, masters compulsory for RA? No, it's not compulsory, but universities prefer, right? But if they see somebody with a good, you know, good work experience or good academics in bachelor's level, they might give to that candidate also. But usually they prefer, you know, people who have masters or PhD degrees. But that is preferred; it's not mandatory. Vipul, your question is, which universities offer maximum tuition waiver? Okay, Vipul, that's actually I have seen even top universities offer up to 100% tuition waiver, but it will depend on your, you know, how, I mean, whether you qualify or not. The 100% scholarships, 100% tuition waivers are given to just you know, top 1-2% of the admitted students. So if your profile is strong enough to be in the top 1-2% of a certain university, then you should definitely know you will get the 100% tuition waiver, right? Okay, I think Manoj, that I think the similar type of question, which university gives highest chance of scholarships? So every university gives scholarships. I mean, US universities are more liberal in giving scholarships. Let me put it to you that way. That US universities are most liberal in giving scholarships, but you know, some other Asian colleges, I have seen people getting 100% tuition waivers from NUS and TU also. So you have to kind of, if you qualify to be in the top 1-2% of the admitted students in a B school, your chances, you know, increase. Okay, so Abdul, your profile seems, you know, I mean, you definitely, they might pick you up for, you know, for RA, right? But tuition waivers are most common. So, and it's good, you know, for tuition waiver, you don't have to do anything in return, you know. But for RA or TA, you have to like take out 20 hours in a week and work, and the MBA curriculum is usually very, you know, hectic. So it's best if you get tuition waiver. Okay, Manoj, the highest maximum chance to get a scholarship. As I said, you know, the US universities are most liberal. You know, these numbers, they vary year to year. Once upon a time, anybody applying to University of Toronto Rotman was given a 30,000 Canadian dollar scholarship, but that, you know, that is no longer the case. HCC Paris, for instance, you know, they used to give 20-30% tuition waiver to almost everybody, but that is again no longer the case. So the numbers keep changing, right? But as I said, you know, given the current economic scenario, the US universities remain the most liberal in terms of giving scholarships. Well, Abdul, TARA is also, you know, is also in their hands. You know, if they want, they can give. In fact, everything is in their hands. In your case, you know, we'll cover it in the last segment, that how to choose the colleges wisely. Ravi, you cannot, the universities do not give you tuition waiver and TARA. So they might give you, let's say they might give you an RA, and the fees they might probably they will tell you, okay, you will need to pay in-state fees instead of out-state, right? So that might happen, but they rarely do. I mean, only for exceptional candidates they mix both. Your question is, why did the scenario change regard to waivers? I think, in the last couple of years, if you look at the country's budgets, the budgets being allocated to education went down, whether it's the US or Canada. So the economic scenario in Europe has not been that good for quite some time. So that has probably taken a toll on the university scholarship decisions. Okay, Vipul, your question is both schools have placements of. Okay, see, what you are looking at are the average numbers, right? So, and but for international students, and when you look at the average students, they give the overall number. For international students, the numbers slightly vary. Moreover, the university websites don't give data about how many students got placed. They usually do the calculation based on how many people got the job. So the average is not calculated as a percentage of the total number of MBA students. They will do it with the total number of students who got the job. So the numbers can be a little misleading. So if out of let's say 500 in NYU, maybe 400 people got jobs immediately after the MBA. In Olin, maybe 200 got. So the calculation in Olin was based on 200, whereas in Stern it was based on 400. So business schools do that. So did you understand, Vipul? In fact, all of you, when you are now looking at business schools, when you see the average salary data, the average salary data is calculated by, they add all the salaries that the students have got divided by the number of students who got those salaries. So the number of the students who did not get the job don't even come in the calculation. So let's say in a business school, out of 100, only 2 people got jobs, and both of them got $100,000 packages. So the average will come up as $100,000. But the fact that 98 people did not get a job immediately after the MBA, so that does not appear anywhere, right? Got it, everybody? So the average salaries that appear on business schools websites, they can be a little misleading. But that's how percentages are calculated. That's how averages are calculated. I mean, you have to divide it by the number of people who got those salaries. You cannot, in the calculation, you cannot take the people who did not get the salary. Okay, actually a better indicator is the Financial Times, FT. Everybody probably have gone to FT website. So there you will see some data about how many people got jobs immediately, what percentage of graduates got jobs immediately after the MBA, what percentage of people got jobs 3 months after the MBA. So that is a better data about how many people are getting jobs. The averages can be a little misleading, and as I said, the averages take into account domestic students as well as international students. Domestic students usually get higher packages than international students. So Ravi, in case a person does not get a job immediately after the MBA, so as a part of your student visa, you are allowed to stay in the country for 1 year extra, right, after your MBA. So you can spend that time, looking for a job, right? So now loans. One interesting thing is that university loans. So universities, in addition to giving scholarships, tuition waivers, they also give loans. Now these loans, there are 2 categories. One type of loans is without cosigner. That means you don't have to have any guarantor, you don't have to give any property documents, nothing, right? So just by getting admission, there are and now this is a feature of mainly US again. The university will give you the loans. They have got like association with banks, so they will give you the loan to cover your tuition as well as cost of living up to 100%, right? So in case so you can always take these loans. The advantage of these loans is that the rate of interest is 6 to 7%, which is like less than half the rate of Indian education loans. Only problem here is that there are very few colleges which give loans without cosigner. A lot of the top ones do, like your Harvard, Wharton, Duke, Cornell, Kellogg, Darden, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Rochester Simon. A lot of the top ones have this option for international students, that university gives you loans without any guarantor, any kind of property document, etc., and the rate of interest is also 6 to 7%. So this is a great choice, and this is what you have to keep in mind. So if you're totally if totally dependent on university funding or outside funding, then you have to choose your universities wisely. Then the second type of loans that universities give is with a co-signer. So if you have a US based, let's say if you have a US based co-signer, so the person, US based co-signer means somebody in the US who has a green card or who is a citizen, if that person is willing to sign, just sign, no need to give any documents or whatever, just be your co-signer, then there are a lot of university options from where you can get these loans. Again, the rate of interest remains 6 to 7%. So in this category, you have got universities like Purdue, Ohio State, Kelly, the UCs. So all this you get the universities give these loans with co-signer. So if you have a US based person, somebody who is a green card holder or who is a citizen who is willing to sign on your behalf to be your co-signer, then the number of universities which will give loans to you, they increase drastically. Okay. Jayashree, most of this information is freely available on the university website. So if you go to a university website, to the MBA page, there will be a link called Funding Your MBA. Right. So if you go that and go to the international student section, a lot of the universities, they give loans without co-signer to their domestic students, but very few give without co-signer. Nothing, Ravi, there is no criteria, just getting admission is enough. You don't have to prove anything. If you have got admission, then you are eligible for the loan, you can take it. That is the option with ISB also. So if you have got the admission, and then you don't need any co-signer, you will get there are empaneled banks in ISB and you will get the loan. But in the ISB, the loan is, of course, the rate of interest is higher. Dani, the timeline, what's called the moratorium period is like 6 months after completion of your MBA. So you start paying it 6 months after the completion of your MBA. Right, Saransh, your question is what will be the liability of the co-signer? Of course, he will be signing on your behalf, so that is a liability. So if you default, if you don't pay off, then it will, the person who signed on your behalf, of course he will be the one who will be in trouble, but otherwise no such problem. But interestingly, university data shows that the loan repayment is 100%. It's interesting, but university, the loan repayment rate is 100%. Everybody returns because you become an alumni, right? You become you do not want to cheat the university. So the universities, they record says, all the universities, they record say that the loans that they give, the repayment rate is 100%. I'm not able to understand what you mean by riskless loans. Ravi, your question is, can we get riskless loans? So what is a riskless risk? I'm not able to understand your question. See, you can take a loan from India itself. Actually that is easier to get, but the problem is that the rates of interest are 14 to 15%. Plus you have to show property, collateral. You have to show from 150% to 200%, depending on the bank. So actually it is better to go for university loans because you get the 100% amount, plus the rate of interest is also low. So actually, whenever possible, obviously you will go for the university loans. AJ, your question is, while applying for visa for studying in US or UK, is it necessary to show that the total amount of tuition in bank account? Okay, so this is a visa related question, but yes, you have to show. You have to show, but if you have the bank loans approved before that, obviously you will have the bank loans approved before that, so that will work. Jashri, yes, we have a, so in, it is a, we do have a counseling division in Jamboree, which they have all this data, but the information is also available on the university website. Indian banks also give you loans. The rate of interest is 14 to 15%, and they give up to 85% of the cost. So they will not give you 100%, right? So they will give you 80% of the cost. Whereas these, you get up to 100% of the cost. So there are distinct advantages of these, right? And another thing is that here, depending on the bank, you will need 100 to 200% collateral. That means if you are asking for 30 lakh ka loan, then you might have to show property or something worth from 30 lakhs to 60 lakhs. So 100 to 200% collateral you have to show. So but yes, worst case scenario, Indian banks, you can always take loans from Indian banks. So AJ, your question is loan won't be enough. I'm not able to understand your question. The loans, the Indian banks, the loans, the caps are usually up to 25 lakhs. So it might not be enough. Whereas these loans, they will cover the entire cost irrespective. So it can go up to 50, 60, 70 lakhs also. So there are distinct advantages of the loans given by the universities. Manoj, after you get admission, so because not everybody who applies for admission need the loans. So after getting the admission, so then they will contact you regarding loans, whether you need the loan or not. Dani, see, you have to start repaying 6 months after your MBA. Doesn't matter where you work, you can work in India, you can work in US, doesn't really matter where you work, you can, but yes, you need to start repaying the loan 6 months after your MBA. Akanksha, your question is, are these university loans available in all Indian B schools? Yes, this university loans without co-signer is available in all Indian B schools. So your even colleges like SP Jain, Great Lakes, ISP, all of them, they have this university loans without co-signer thing. Shankar, your question is, my understanding is loans are offered on only tuition fees and not on hostel fees. Shankar, the loans from Indian banks, now two scenarios. Loans on Indian banks are actually covered, they cover both your tuition as well as cost of living, the total cost. So they will give 80 to 85%, so they cover 80 to 85% of your the total cost. Manoj, your question is, but for the visa we need to show it before, right? So we get it before that. Yes, see, your visa anyway you will apply at the last stage. So your loan approval, everything will have to be done before you apply for the visa, and that's how everybody does. AJ, your question is, their interest rates are 6 to 7% or 11 to 2 for okay. AJ, for Indian B schools the rates are higher. Sometimes it's 10 to 11, but ISB, I think till last year they were giving at 9%, so it can vary from 9 to 12% for Indian. Yes, Manoj, I understood your question. I am talking about the university loans itself. You can, you should try to, you should, actually you should get it before the, before your visa. Suman, your question is, any example of refusal of loans by university abroad? No, if you get admission, then that's not a problem. Not just abroad, even ISB and all. If you get admission, then there is no problem in getting the loan approved. AJ, your question is regarding visa. As we discussed, we need to show tuition fees in bank account. In that place, shall we show? Yes. Actually, for visa, you don't need to show tuition fees in bank account. So, you have to, whatever the expense is, that much or at least twice should be available either in cash or in property. It's not mandatory that you should have everything in cash. Nobody in India maintains that much cash. So that is understood. And the loans, yes, the bank loans, once you have the sanctioning letter, that also, that works. You don't have to then get the loan, right? The loan anyway will be the tuition fees amount, the bank, whichever bank you take the loan from, the tuition fees sent directly to the university, you will anyway not get the amount. So the loan sanctioning letter is fine, while applying for visa. Okay, Manoj, your question is, so for university loans without cosigner, if we are unable to pay loans due to sudden demise or such unexpected conditions, what will be the next step taken by the university? Okay, now this is a very extreme case you are talking about. So I think, I have not come across any such situation, to be honest. So where this kind of emergency happened, so I will not be able to address your question, but my guess is that they would probably then have to waive it off. Why are you thinking of your own demise, Manoj? That is not a good thing to think. Okay. Right. So the last thing. No, Manoj, don't worry. The universities will not send recovery agents to your family if that is what you are worrying about. So first of all, try not to die. And if you do, then don't worry, the universities will not send the recovery agents to your family. Suman, as I said, after you get admission in a university, the university will send you the necessary documentation. They will send you an email asking, in case you want to apply for a loan, they will send the necessary documents, so you don't have to worry about that. So that the applying for loans with universities outside India, that happens only after you are given the admission offer. Yes, Manoj, it is safe, yeah, but just don't plan on dying, Okay. Now this is a very interesting thing that everybody, I don't know, a lot of people in India, a lot of MBA students in India are not aware of. There are intermediaries or middlemen, you can call, in India itself. They can arrange university loans through US banks. So these are not through universities but through intermediaries. So one such foundation is called Paras Education Loan Foundation, based in Mumbai. If any of you, if you are in Mumbai, you can actually go and visit their office. Paras Education Loan Foundation. The advantage of this is that so you don't have to worry about whether the university that you are applying to, they give loan without cosigner or not, So in case you are not able to get anything, still it is better to go for a US bank loan. Remember, it is the rate of interest is 6 to 7%, right? So it is advisable to go for this than Indian banks where the rate of interest can be 14 to 15%. So Paras Education Loan Foundation, it's a loan foundation based in Mumbai, right? So you can so they act as the intermediary, so they take your guarantee kind of thing. They take some they take some fees also, and but again, this is also possible if you have a US based cosigner, right? So if you have a US based cosigner and you are not able to get a loan, not able to means you have not got admission in a college, where the college itself gives the loan. So you can go through intermediaries from India itself, but of course not everybody is trustworthy. Paras Education Loan Foundation is very trustworthy. You can go through them. Because US is the most flexible one, Abdul. That's the only that's the only answer. They are the most flexible one, right? Now the very important part, choosing a B school to fit your budget. So look at scholarships and loan availability. Not all business schools offer the loans that we talked about. Okay, Manoj, bye. So so loans, the loans without cosigner, especially there is just a limited bunch of colleges that offer. So you have to, if you are looking at funding from universities, then you have to then search the B schools carefully. Then there are colleges, again there are some universities which do not give scholarships, right? So you have to then not apply. For example, University of Michigan, Ross Business School, does not give much scholarship, right? So there are colleges which give more scholarships, which are more open to giving scholarships to international students than others. So you should know which colleges are those, right? So be very careful. Go to their website, look at the scholarship data, look at the loan availability. Only then choose the business school if you are dependent on the university funding, obviously. Then look at the cost of living. Sometimes students look only at the tuition. That is not good enough, because you have to it's the cost of living can be very high in certain cities. So if you are applying to a Chicago or a New York, or Los Angeles, they are extremely expensive cities. So when you are looking at business school websites, the fees, don't look at only the fees. So if you to make your budget itself, to plan how much you need for a certain B school, it is actually tuition plus cost of living, not just tuition. It is tuition plus cost of living, right? So a lot of students make this mistake. They consider sometimes only the tuition, and they end up going to a place which is like really expensive. Then the bank loans that they took from India, they don't become sufficient. So lot of problems. So by the way, the information about the cost of living is also given in the university websites, but people still just look only at the tuition fees. Then look at the overall cost of the MBA. By this I mean, is there an internship? If the internship is there, then there is a chance that your cost will get reduced, right? So if the internship is not there, then you have no way of cutting down on your cost. So look at overall cost of the MBA. Overall cost is the cost of living plus tuition minus whatever you will earn from the internship. So be very careful while choosing a business school. Do not apply to a business school which will mention in its website that they do not give scholarships to international students. So there are colleges such as that. In terms of scholarship availability, in terms of loan availability, US colleges, they are the most flexible. They have the most amount of funds available for international students, right? But at the same time, let's say that you are applying to a US business school where the cost is 80 lakhs. Even if you get 20% fee waivers, you will still end up paying something like 54 lakhs, right? For example, this is just an example. So even if you get 20% tuition fee waiver, you will still end up paying 54 lakhs. On the other hand, if you are applying to an MBA which is like which cost is 40 lakhs and it does not give any scholarship, that's still fine, because 50 lakhs is higher than your 40 lakhs. So don't just go by who gives the maximum scholarship. You have to look at the overall cost of the MBA. There are, like for example, the Asian business schools, the cost range from 25 to 45 lakhs, right? So even if they do not give too many scholarships, they still come to be much cheaper than probably some of the top European colleges, which even after giving scholarship, they might come out to be far more expensive. So just whether a college gives a scholarship or does not give a scholarship is not the criteria. You need to look at the overall cost also. 64, yeah, sorry, my math doesn't seem to work on Saturdays. Okay, Utkarsh, your question is, what if I do part-time job? Utkarsh, you can do part-time jobs in Europe, but in the US, you can do part-time jobs also, 20 hours per week, that too on campus. On campus means in the properties owned by the universities, such as the library or the cafeteria, and that is not enough to that is usually not enough. Moreover, MBA curriculum is so very hectic that you will not have time to do 20 hours of part-time job also. So I would not I would not advise you to the most important thing is that you do well in your MBA. Whatever free time you have, you need to focus on networking, building connections, traveling to meet people, to meet companies. You have to start that network right from your first semester, right? Karampal, okay, your question is why part-time is only 20 hours per week. Okay, Karampal, that is the law. Now I don't know why that is the law, but that is the law. By law, international students on a student visa can work only for 20 hours per week. Okay, AJ, what's the best way? So my advice is that when you first go there, don't start looking for a part-time job in the first semester. First semester you will be trying to adapt to a lot of new things. The courses will be new, the way the classes are conducted in the US, that will be new, or any country for that matter. You might have to do a lot of extra learning. So first semester I would advise you not to do any part-time work, right? After the first semester, when you have got a hang of the MBA, when you know what it takes, then from the second semester you might still, if you feel that you can cope with 20 hours or 10 hours, whatever was hours, if you think you can cope with that much time for your part-time work, then you should. Suman, it's the average is not that important. Actually, there are colleges which range from $160,000 to there are $100,000. So to some colleges are also $90,000. So it varies a lot. It depends on the college you are going to. ft.com is a good place to look for tuition fees, etc. Or if you are going to US, then you can look at usnews.com. So all the US News, B schools, cost, data and all you will find on the usnews.com website, right? Karampal, actually you will not be able to, because you will not be meeting their criteria. So while pursuing an MBA, in the US you cannot apply for green card or a PR. First link is, so I'm just giving you some resources. So ft.com is a good resource to look at employment data. Employment data as in what percentage of the class got a job after their MBA, or 3 months after the MBA, so that kind of data, and also their fees data. Specifically, if you are looking at US colleges, then the data is more accurate on the usnews.com. Oh, hang on, yes, I typed it wrong, just one second. So go to this link. Do you see the link on your screen? So it has all the university deadlines. Here, if any university has a special deadline for scholarship, that is also mentioned. So if you are applying to a university which gives scholarships, then of course you will have to apply by the scholarship deadline, if it has any. A lot of colleges do not have any separate scholarship deadline, but some do. So this link will they have the data of all the top 100 B schools in the world, right? Then the recordings of the previous webinars, in case you want to see, they are available here. And if you have any questions during the webinar, I saw a lot of unrelated questions, and unfortunately I had to cut you down, but you please feel free to email us and we will get back to you. The next webinar is on August 15, where we will talk in detail about the admissions criteria, about how to address the essays, who to take letters of recommendation from, how to portray your profile in the best possible manner, right? So that is on August 15, 12 p.m. In the meantime, before that also, if you have any questions, please keep writing to us at the above email ID and we will get back to you.